Hello, YouTube. Peace and blessings. This is the Urban Homeschool coming to treat you with another PowerPoint for elementary mathematics. This lesson is about finding probability. Today's objectives. Today, students will be able to use a fraction to express the probability of an event. Okay. Michael's great aunt Drew is 100 years old. She has an old box that contains a penny with the date of each year of her life. As she pulls pennies from the box, she tells Michael stories. We're going to answer these questions. Number 1, what is the probability that the penny chosen will be for the year she was born? 2, what is the probability that it will be for a year she was a teenager? 3, what is the probability that it will be for a year that she was older than 80? Let's answer these. She has a penny with the date of each year of her life. And how old is she? Okay, let's answer number 1. The probability that the penny chosen will be for the year she was born. 1 out of 100. Number 2, what is the probability that it will be for a year she was a teenager? I forgot the word be, okay? But it will be for a year she was a teenager. How many years of your life are you a teenager? Okay, 7. Let me see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 7 years being a teenager. And what is the probability that the penny that Michael's great aunt Drew pulls out from her box where she was older than 80? 20. Yep, she's 100. So we count up to 100. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And it's out of 100 pennies. Or simplified, 1/5. All right. Now, how do you find probability? Now, you can use fractions to find probability of an event. Probability equals the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. Let's explain further. So, let's look at an example. Tiffany tosses a number cube with the numbers 1 to 6 or through 6. So now we have to find the probability that she tosses an even number. Okay, so it's 1 to 6. So we know that there are only 6 possible outcomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now, there are 3 favorable outcomes. 2, 4, and 6. Now, why are those favorable? Well, the question was that we had to find the probability that she tossed an even number. And the even numbers are 2, 4, and 6. So now, let's use the definition of probability and the worded fraction to explain it. Now, probability equals number of favorable outcomes over number of possible outcomes. The favorable outcomes are 2, 4, and 6. That's 3 numbers. And the possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 numbers. So it is 3 to 6 or 3/6. Simplified fraction, 1/2. So the probability that Tiffany tosses an even number is about half. Oh, is half. Let's look at another example. Miguel spins a spinner, shown to the right. Okay. We have to find the probability he does not spin yellow. So let's look at the possible outcomes. There are only 4 possible outcomes, which are red, blue, yellow, and green. So there are 3 favorable outcomes. And why are they favorable? Because the question is, find the probability that he does not spin yellow. So the favorable outcomes would be red, blue, and green, not yellow. So that's 3. Now, how many possibilities? 4. So our answer is 3/4. Okay, so the probability that Miguel does not spin yellow is 3/4. Okay, let's look again and explain further. You toss a number cube, like the number cube to the left, with numbers 1 to 6. Now, we have to find the probability that you toss a number less than 7. Then we have to find the probability that you toss a 7. So there are 6 possible outcomes. All of the outcomes are less than 7. So it is certain that you would toss a number less than 7. That is certain. So the probability would be 6 favorable outcomes over 6 possible outcomes. Whoa, 6 over 6, which is a whole number, which is 1 whole. Okay? So none of the possible outcomes will be 7. So it is impossible to toss a 7. All right? So let's look at the probability, the number of favorable outcomes. We want to toss a 7. 0. The probability of possible outcomes, it's 6. But 0 over 6 is not a fraction. It's just equal to 0. So that probability of you tossing a number cube less than 7 is 1. And then the probability that you toss a 7 is 0. Let's look further at a line called the possibility line, okay, or probability line. So any impossible event has a probability of 0. So let's look at the line itself. We have the line starting at 0, and then it divides in half, and then it goes all the way up to 1. Okay? There are impossible events, unlikely events, equally likely, and equally unlikely, and then likely, and then certain. So, any impossible event has a probability of 0. It's impossible, so it's a 0 chance. A certain event has a probability of 1, just like with the last slide that we saw with Miguel, that him rolling the die and actually getting a number less than 7 was 6 out of 6, which equals 1. So that was a certain event that could happen. And any other event has a probability between 0 and 1. So any other event you can actually put in between 0 and 1. And that has to do with the fraction itself. And later on, we'll explain that. But thank you, YouTube, for listening to this lesson. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope your young ones also were able to understand. Peace and blessings. Thank you.